Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We are back with the Ted Show. Super excited to have these two on because if you didn't, I'll give you my background in a little bit, but I want you to learn about what Windy McCarty and Trinity Phillips are doing. We're going to talk about celebrating recovery. We're going to talk about the Hope-A-Thon. We're going to learn a little bit about them and the importance of what they're doing in our community. I'm just so excited to have them on. I've been trying to get Trinity on for a long time. So welcome to both of you. Very excited to have you. Wendy, we'll start with you. Give us a little background on you and a little bit of Windy history.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy McCarty Van Bemmel. I work over at University Behavioral Center, which is a local hospital here in Orlando. We focus on helping people that have substance use disorder and mental health disorders. I'm also a mom, a wife. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. So a lot of different hats, but recovery is something near and dear to me and my family. My sister's been in recovery for 5 years now, so it really hits close to home, and I'm super excited to be part of the Hope-A-Thon this year and share some of that with you guys today.
Fantastic. I know UBC because I think I told you I used to take people out to do the ropes course out there.
Yes, that's awesome.
By the university. How I ever got up on those things and stood and walked is a whole nother world. Trinity Phillips, old friend, known him for a very, very long time. Very happy to have him finally on the show. Didn't know you were going to be part of it. And then when Wendy said, well, Trinity can come on, right? I'm like, yes, in my brain. I've been wanting him to come on for a while. So welcome to the show, Trinity. Tell us about you.
Yeah, man. Well, that goes for you as well, man. I'm very excited to kind of be on here. I haven't seen you in quite some time. Ever since I started to completely boycott getting dressed for a living. I can't go into the Citrus Club and hang out anymore. And Wendy, actually, him talking about that reminded me, UBC, actually, I used to play on those rope courses when I was a kid. Back when Research Park was all woods everywhere you look.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we're talking in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Get out.
I used to get ran off there by people because I was in there playing on their stuff.
That's so funny.
But yeah, as you heard, I'm Trinity Phillips. I'm the president of the N.O.W Matters More Foundation. My alternate personality, if you will, is the Dharma guy. So I normally do shows on Tuesdays about spirituality, and I come from a Buddhist perspective. So I try to talk about kind of living a happier life, man, from a spiritual sense. And then, and quite the opposite of Wendy, I actually got involved with the addiction world kind of by accident, if you will. Never really dealt with addiction in my own life or anybody else that's really close to me. If anything, I actually had a really bad take on it. From watching movies and things of that nature, I had a certain perspective. And then many, many years ago, I met Louis Delgado, which is our founder. Some people might know him as the dope doctor. He introduced me to this world. I started doing fitness training and teaching spirituality in different treatment facilities, and kind of just met some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And I started to realize that they were just like you and me and everybody else, just made some bad decisions and still paying the price, and completely turned my idea around. And then now I'm one of the biggest advocates. I'm the president of the foundation. I'm a co-host on another show that does it. Very, very actively involved in the addiction community. So I'm proof that you don't have to be in recovery to actually, give love and compassion to those who are.
I think it's so important what you said, that I think a lot of people have there's a negative, there's stigma that goes along with recovery and addiction. And so there's this automatic judgment. I know when I first was in college and really started to get into that area of my life, when I was getting my master's degree, I was amazed at the support of the community for the people in the community. And then the stories that people would share were just moving. You would cry. They would cry. It's very, recovery is such a personal journey for people. And the things that led up to what led them to eventual recovery, sometimes you just can't believe the stories of what people have been through, what they went through as kids, what they have been through as adults. It's mind-blowing. And so what I love most about this topic is that we're celebrating the recovery, because I think a lot of people don't allow that. They think that recovery is no big deal. Well, if you haven't been in it or seen it, you don't get how big of a deal it really is. And so celebrating it is a beautiful thing. All right, so tell me about the Hope-A-Thon. Tell me about what's going on, because this is, I think, Pernell Bush, right? I think Pernell is an old friend. He's been on the show. I saw a post of his and I reached out to him immediately. I'm like, how do I help? So give us a little background about the Hope-A-Thon and maybe a little bit more about the foundation, Trinity.
Yeah, so the Hope-A-Thon, it started out as a discussion, right? Our founder, Louis, wanted to do a telethon for many, many years now. And me being a little bit younger generation than him, I'm old enough to remember the telethons, but they never struck a chord with me the same way they did with him. So we were all kind of a little bit reluctant to start. But as he usually does, he finally ended up talking us into it. And we partnered up with Orange County, and now we're all kind of really excited about it. We're all buying into the idea. And so the main idea is really to get across hope, right? All you hear about typically is the devastation, the lies, the hurt, the pain, the trauma that comes with addiction, because it's sexy, right? I mean, everybody likes to watch a car crash. But what they don't spend a lot of time talking about is the hope that's involved, and the fact that people do recover, the fact that there's people out there with 20, 30 years of recovery who have moved on with their lives and done great things, and their addiction is just a figment of the past. And I don't think that's covered enough. And I know for me, as a normie, as we're called, that was the one thing that I never really truly connected with until I got into this little niche. Because once again, up to that point, all I saw was the devastation and the heartbreak, and I couldn't understand it. And it was never really publicized that people recovered. It wasn't until I met Louis and I started talking to him and I found out that he was in recovery, celebrating like 30 years, that I really truly made that connection of like, wait a minute, like people recover from this and they have like these long lives. And so that's essentially the crux of what the Hope-A-Thon really is. It's going to be 24 hours. It's going to be streamed live. If you're in the local area here in Orlando, you can watch it on any of the networks that have Orange TV. So right off the top of my head, I know Comcast has it, Spectrum. So they'll be streaming it live. You can also watch it live on Orange County's YouTube channel, or you can go to facebook.com/Now Matters More, and we'll be streaming it live through our Facebook page as well. There's going to be lots of messages of hope. There's going to be different comedians and artists, everything you can think of to entertain you for 24 hours, we're going to have it. And it starts at midnight on the 26th. And then as far as the
midnight to midnight.
Yeah, midnight to midnight. Wendy. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's midnight to midnight. So starting at midnight, going all the way to midnight.
Yeah, pretty much.
So are either of you singing or performing?
What's that?
Are either of you singing or performing?
That would be me.
Oh, you are? Nice.
The person who cannot sing Happy Birthday on tune will be singing. You have to tune in for that. No, we did I got conned into it. We did a little drive-by karaoke at our hospital and had everybody sing for the Hope-A-Thon, and the only way to get some of our hospital folks to sing was if I sang with them. So nice. Yeah, there's that.
Nice. Yeah, I won't be doing any singing or dancing.
Wendy, talk a little bit about the, go ahead, Trinity, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I won't be doing any singing and dancing, but I'm positive he'll have me flapping my gums on there sometime.
All right. So Wendy, tell me about what is the Hope-A-Thon like when we're raising the money? I love the concept. It reminds me of the old Jerry Lewis telethon. I mean, that's what Trinity's referring to, is us old people used to watch that. But you're right, there's a different connection because it wasn't as big when I was growing up as it was in the earlier years. But you have a 24-hour Hope-A-Thon. People are going to come on and perform and talk and give inspirational stuff. But tell me about what you want to accomplish. Is that's going to raise money, and what are we raising the money for?
So we're raising the money for 10 different nonprofit organizations here in Central Florida. 100% of the proceeds are going to go to them to help other people. We vetted the different organizations. You can look on the hopeathon.com to see all the different organizations. We have let's see, Zebra Coalition, One Hope. What are some of the others, Trinity? I'm trying to think off the top of my head here.
Well, you got the N.O.W Matters More Foundation.
Now Matters More Foundation.
You have
yes.
One Heart Women and Children, Zebra Coalition. You have the recovery coalitions, the different recovery schools. There's I think 10 in total, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for helping me out on that. Yeah. So the proceeds will go to them. Really easy. If you want to make a donation, even $5. I mean, nothing feels better too in your heart knowing that you're doing something to help other people, and it all will go to helping other people, which is really nice.
And Zebra, Zebra is just one because I happen to know them. This is all recovery oriented, and some of the programs that you'll see on there, you may not automatically know what they are, but if they have already vetted them, this is something that's going to make an impact. Zebra tends to deal more with the youth, the younger crowd that is coming up and has everything from recovery issues to you name it. But there is a way to help. So if you have a specific audience, or maybe you had a family member that you can relate to that you wish had more help, or you'd like to give back, I guarantee you there's an organization in there that will benefit, that will fit your need. And I think that's what it is. You mentioned it earlier too. You're a normie, Trinity. A normie, is that what they call them?
Apparently so, yes.
And so I think if you're not in it, you've only seen it in movies and TV, and you don't understand the pain, withdrawal, detox, going through treatment, recidivism, going back, the relapse rate. There's all of these things that go on. It's not just this tied up in a nice little package scenario. Recovery is this lifelong journey that you're on.
Yeah.
And every day that you can make it through should be a celebration, which is sort of part of the whole one day at a time thought process. But I think it's so important. I've never had anybody on that has talked about celebrating. They've talked about all of the issues and the treatments, but they haven't talked about actually celebrating the recovery. And I just think it's so cool what you guys are doing. All right, so the Hopeathon.com is the best way for people to get more information. You can make your donations there.
Yes, you can.
Okay. And it'll have the list of all of the 10 organizations that will benefit from you getting involved. And why not watch somebody perform like Wendy, who says she can't sing, or I don't know what Trinity will do, but he's 100% right. He is going to be talking about something, which is awesome. Go and watch. It's a way to be entertained and still give back, and still embrace your community and celebrate the people who are in recovery. I just love it. Quick question for both of you. What have you done in the recovery world, in the nonprofit world, to pivot with COVID? Because that's been such a challenge for all nonprofits. I imagine it's been a challenge for anybody in recovery. I imagine it's just been a challenge overall to kind of feel your way through this new normal. What have you guys seen and what have you done? Because we had a couple people ask that are nonprofits. That's why I'm asking it. What have you guys done?
Yeah, so I can tell you from my perspective, I work in a local hospital here, and we saw a dramatic increase in the admissions of people coming into our substance use programs, more so than ever before. About 2 months after COVID hit, we just saw this huge rise. And I mean, it makes sense. You know, you can't go out, you need your social system when you're in recovery, and when you're stuck at home, and it's really hard to not reach for the alcohol, or, you know, it's there. You also have stressors. You're with your family 24/7. You know, you can't get away. You can't do all of the things you used to do to kind of, you know, get yourself out of some of those issues that you don't want to be in. So we've seen an increase. Some of the things that we're doing over at the hospital is really focusing on managing anxiety. We're seeing so much more anxiety, you know, not knowing what's going on, what's going to happen health-wise. Even with our kids in the hospital, we're seeing that. So we've got some groups that we've added really focused on anxiety, and just trying to be there in the community. We're doing some telehealth with some of the local schools and being able to give them some anxiety reducing tips, some breathing exercises. We've been doing vision boards to kind of help you look at what you want your future to look like now. It might be a little different than you thought it would be, but just trying to be there for our community.
I love it. How about you, Trinity?
Yeah, for us, I mean, as far as, you know, the business side of what we do, it's changed in the sense of I'm obviously no longer in the studio. I'm cooped up in my daughter's bedroom. But as far as a foundation is concerned, most of the programs that we're connected to, you know, they've got fantastic testing and things of that in place already for COVID, because that is part of what we do. And I'm going to make that pitch here in a second. But part of what we do is we partner up with different facilities, and they all have fantastic systems in place to respond effectively to the COVID thing. So for that, we're grateful. But as far as the foundation, the work that we do hasn't changed much in the sense of at the N.O.W Matters More Foundation, the three main kind of approaches that we take, because you and I have actually never had a conversation about this, so here's your pitch. So the first thing we do is we vet treatment facilities, right? I'm sure you live in Florida with me, so I'm sure you've heard all the negative publicity that so many treatment facilities have. It's a very at-risk population, and so there's no shortage of predators out there to try to take advantage of them. You know, there's treatment facilities who don't do what they say they're going to do. They do things like body brokering, just all sorts of nefarious things. And so what we do is we go in and we meet the clinical directors. We meet the owners of the facilities. We have a very good partnership with them. And we would never send somebody to a place that we wouldn't send our own family to, essentially. So even if you're not in financial distress, but you just don't know who to call or what to do, you can reach out to us, and that's part of what we do is we connect you with the right facility for your specific needs. The second thing we do is we do scholarships and treatment. You know, if you've got a huge bank account, you can kind of afford to do whatever you want to do. If you don't have any money in the bank account, there's a lot of government-ran programs that can help assist you, essentially. But that middle-class population who makes too much to qualify but not enough to actually pay, oftentimes finances are a barrier to treatment. And sometimes it's as little as like $500 or $600, maybe $1,000 deductible that they can't afford to pay that's keeping them from getting the help that they need. And so they come to us, they fill out an application through our website at nowmattersmore.org, or they call us at 833-NOW-MATTERS. We get the application, that starts our process rolling. And then if they qualify, then we take care of that scholarship. And we do have certain facilities that we get full ride scholarships where it's completely free treatment as well. And then, of course, the last and the third thing that we do, which is I personally consider one of the most important things, and that is advocacy. Like we're doing right now, the Hope-A-Thon and the shows that we do, we try to get people to understand that it's not the person, you know, from the TV shows back in the day who's breaking into your house and your cars and stuff and stealing your things. It's your brothers, it's your sisters, it's your neighbors, it's your best friends. Yeah. You know, it's that soccer mom who has never touched an illegal drug in her life, but had a bad accident, got addicted to opioids, and now can't afford them, who's starting to turn to heroin. You know, that traditional pathway just doesn't, it's not as prevalent as it used to be. Now it's non-traditional methods. And so we try to break that stigma and get people talking about it in a positive light. So as a foundation and a crux, that's essentially what we do. And all the other charities who are connected to the Hope-A-Thon in various ways contribute to that overall, you know, theme, if you will.
And I think we want, I don't, you know, if you're a positive person like we are, you want people to succeed. You want to see that recovery. You want us to be able to celebrate that. You want them to make the milestones. It's the same concept of when you're rooting for anyone who is struggling with something, whatever that might be. You want them to get to a place where they're at least at a place where they can function in a happy, or at least some sort of happy life, and they're not stuck in that recovery. Recovery is a crazy, terrible animal. And if you haven't seen some of the stuff on YouTube or some of the documentaries, I encourage you to look and be a lot more compassionate for the people who are going through that and who relapse and whose family members are involved. Because remember, this impacts all of us. It's not just the addict. It's not just the person in recovery. It's the family members are impacted, which is just this ripple effect. And so we have to figure out how to embrace those people and bring them back in and try to help them in their recovery. So kudos, huge kudos to you guys for what you're doing. All right, give us, Wendy, one more time. Tell us where they can go and when they should start looking.
Sure, absolutely. And you just made me think of this too. Sometimes people in recovery have the very best stories and make the very best people. So you can go on, you can do so much with your life, even if you have a past. Check out the Hopeathon.com for more information. We're going to be live from midnight to midnight this Saturday, and we want to see all your smiling faces there, and we'll be there too.
Excited. Thank you both for being on the show. Trinity, it's great to see you. Wendy, it's nice to meet you face to face. The Hopeathon starts this Saturday. It's 24 hours. Go to the Hopeathon.com. Get involved, see what's going on, get a little entertainment, and then give back to your community, which is what these wonderful people are trying to do. Thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you, man.
Thanks,
all right, we'll
thanks for having us.
Adios.
See you.
The Hopeathon.com, guys. Don't forget. Bye-bye, everybody.